I started showing up at the Equinox in Palo Alto. One morning, someone comes up to me. That's Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. There's just interesting things that happen when you open yourself up to a little bit of discomfort. It's a perfect example of some of the stuff I talk about with engineered serendipity.
How did you get Tim Cook, Apple CEO, as your mentor?
This is a pretty funny story just because it's a perfect example of some of the stuff I talk about with like engineered serendipity or expanding your luck surface area. I got started working in 2014. So I had just graduated from Stanford and I was starting at this private equity fund. It's like 80 to 100 hour weeks was going to be the standard. And I really wanted to keep up my fitness habit because I had like played baseball in college. That was a big part of my life. I didn't want to just lose that. And so what I knew was that meant I had to go to the gym really, really early in the morning because I wasn't going to be able to reliably go after work. So I started showing up at the Equinox in Palo Alto at 4:45 in the morning. They would open the doors like just before 5. And basically there was this crew of like 5 to 8 people that would show up every single morning at that time. So 6 months goes by and it's the same people. And then one morning someone comes up to me. I was just talking to this gentleman and I walk away and then someone comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, do you know who that is?" I was like, "No, who is that?" "That's the guy that I work out with." He's like, "That's Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple." And I was just like, oh shit. Because I'd been talking to this guy for 6 months and probably been saying like dumb things, not thinking. I had no idea that he was this like, because I wasn't in tech. And he wasn't, now he's like one of the most famous people in the business world. At the time, he was like this is 2014. So like he was the new-ish CEO of Apple. And you don't look the same in the gym as you do, when you're like on stage doing the keynotes for Apple.
Yep.
So I didn't know who he was. And so then after that, I reached out to him and just asked whether he'd be willing to get together for coffee or breakfast. I was like starting to figure out my career. And I made it very clear that I wasn't looking for a job. Like I wasn't looking for anything from him other than just, I wasn't trying to go work for him at Apple. I wasn't like trying to get him to invest in my startup. I was on a great track and I just wanted to learn from him. We also both shared a real interest in policy and politics. And so I figured that was kind of an interesting entry point. And so he said yes. We ended up getting together and really just like sparked what has become an amazing relationship over the last, now it's been 10-ish years since we originally met. And he's been a huge player in like shaping the trajectory of my life and giving me a lot of confidence to go and like jump into new things. So I'm very grateful for it, but a truly, truly lucky encounter.
Did you start talking to Tim? Because it sounds like you talked to a bunch of people in that 5 a.m. squad.
Yeah. It's hard when you're in like a small setting with not that many people for a long period of time to not have had some level of interaction with them. It's different, like if you go to the gym at 9 a.m., 8 a.m., and there's hundreds of people, like it's probably going to be hard to build any level of depth of connection with them. So that's part of when I say like engineering luck or engineering serendipity. It was because it was 4:45 in the morning. There was only 6 people there every single morning at that time. And so it's much easier then to like build a true relationship, plus signal to them that you're not just some guy. Right? Like they know, this person has been showing up, waking up clearly at like 3:45 in the morning every day for the last 6 months. Like I was no longer just, some guy looking to like get you to fund my startup or like whatever it was. Like I had signaled over a long period of time certain things about myself and about my character. And so like as I think about the like takeaways for people, it's putting yourself in positions where you can win in that way, right? It's truly expanding your luck surface area.
I'm just trying to figure out how the conversation might go, because I usually go to the gym at around 5:30, right? So same players, it is around 8 to 10 people. Yeah. But I'm like, that's a nice pull up you're doing over there.
Well, you don't have to be weird about it. If you do that, I guarantee it won't work. Like yesterday, I'm here in LA. I went over to the Equinox and someone stopped me, like had seen some content I had put out, and we ended up getting into a conversation. And it turns out that he's like building this media company, like sort of like what the Rain Group has done, like media, investing, sports, etc., which I'm really interested in. He has a partner in New York, like he's going to fly out, like we'll probably get together. And so, there's just interesting things that happen when you kind of like open yourself up to a little bit of discomfort. And that's, again, it's not to say that like, for every interaction that I've had that has turned into a great thing, like with Tim or, like potentially with this guy that I just connected with, there's been plenty of awkward ones where you like do have an awkward encounter or the person doesn't like take the doorknob that you offer them to walk through in a conversation. Kind of be exposing yourself to that risk and like the discomfort of getting rejected or having it be weird in order to have the gold on the other side sometimes.
I think my takeaway from this one is there's a shared interest thing, right? Because, them talking about, hey, we're doing this and you're interested in that. Or, with Tim, it's like you guys are showing up early. He's like, you have like shared interests and there's like the shared hustle, right? Yeah. I think that is the thing, because sometimes people just don't know what to say.
Yeah, totally. And look, like, there's no such thing as a loser who wakes up at 4 a.m. and works out. Just like the reality. Like if you go to the gym at 5 a.m., like there's not really going to be anyone that's losing in life there, because it's really freaking hard to do. It's just like you have to set up your entire life around that really in order to do it. It takes a ton of discipline. So that's just a great signaling mechanism in and of itself.